Hello Game Boys and Game Girls, I'm the Game Boy Guru and welcome to a somewhat belated pickups video. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and that's because I didn't get a ton of stuff. You know, I did my pickups video for June and July and it was huge, and then I didn't get that much in August, and I didn't get that much in September, and I didn't even get that much in October, but I feel like I got enough that I want to make sure and show it off. Let me grab one thing that I forgot to put on the table here, and I'll be ready to show that off here momentarily. So, I picked up a few things between Goodwill and the pawn shop here recently when I went, and so I'll show off a couple of those things. Oh, and then the game store as well. So let's see. I got a couple of DS games complete. So we have the Paws and Claws Pet Vet game, and we have this I can't even read it because there's a sticker on the top. My Fashion Studio. Yeah, My Fashion Studio for the DS. But when you get these for next to nothing and they are complete, might as well pick them up. I got... it's not my first Xbox One game because I got another one in the RF Generation Secret Santa a couple of years ago. I think it's a bit of a gag, but this would be the first one that I might actually want to play, and that's Resident Evil 7. So once I get myself an Xbox One or an Xbox Series, I will definitely want to give this a whirl, because supposedly it's pretty good. Also picked up a couple of original Xbox games that I was surprised I didn't have. One of them is this combo disc, or this combo pack. It's Project Gotham Racing 2 on one, and then Xbox Live Arcade on the other. And so of course it's the double disc. No manual to speak of other than this Xbox communicator deal. But I don't know if this actually came with a real manual. Either way, it's one that I didn't have, so I decided to grab it. And then I also got this Rally Sport Challenge, which I was surprised I didn't have. And I don't know if... I'm assuming that this is right because the sticker on the front here, I think, corresponds with this game, but it's not for individual sale. So I don't know if this was ever a pack-in for any one of the bundles of the original Xbox, but I was surprised I didn't have this. I'm pretty sure I've got Rally Sport Challenge 2, but for whatever reason I didn't have the original. So that's just a handful of things that I got between the pawn shop and the Goodwills. I also managed to get a Game Boy game at the store that I didn't have, and that is High Stakes Gambling. So scratch yet another off my list. Also picked up a few things, a few other things at the game store on one other trip that I took. This would have been in August, and so got some Wii games. Kind of been on a first-person shooter kick here of late, so I grabbed Heavy Fire Afghanistan, Call of Duty World at War, and I think with this I now own every console iteration of this game. Centipede Infestation, which is not a first-person shooter, but being a fan of Centipede, I grabbed that. And then Dragon Blade Wrath of Fire. And I don't really know much about this game, but it was dirt cheap, and it was one of those that this particular game store, when you buy 4, you get 1 free. That's of equal or lesser value, so free game. I also got a couple of PS4 games. I got G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, and then also this double pack, or platinum pack as it calls it, Galak Z, and then Skulls of the Shogun. I played some of the Switch version of Galak Z when I managed to get it either cheap or free, I don't remember which. Galak Z Void. It's okay. It's, you know, it's an okay kind of arena shoot 'em up. But yeah, you know, for cheap, I figured why not. So that was some stuff that I got from the local game store. Item I got in the mail somewhat recently was Androdunos 2 for the Switch. Those of you who have watched my pickups videos know that I already got the 3DS version of this, but I decided to go for the Switch version. I'm going to leave the 3DS version sealed for now, because this will be a better way to play it anyway. Of course, this came with a sticker and a little card here. Gotta show that off. And so we'll go ahead and open this up. I don't think there's anything too earth-shattering in here, but I always like to crack these open and kind of show off what's inside, because that way you can kind of see what's what. Ah, there we go. So no manual, but certificate of authenticity. And let's see, is there anything on the other side? Nope, nothing on the other side. So that is Androdunos 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Finally got that. Let's see here. Picked up a couple of other things. I went on a trip with my brother and his oldest son, and we went and drove a few hours to go see a concert, and then spent the night in a hotel. And the next day we hit a few places, a couple of music stores and that, and one of the places we hit before the music stores were open was a couple of pawn shops. And at one of those I picked up a couple games I didn't have. NBA Live 07 for the PSP. Another one that I was surprised I didn't have, but I think it was the only one I was missing. And then also Outlaw Volleyball. I've had Outlaw Volleyball Red Hot, the sort of expansion pack kind of thing, for a while, but this one, for whatever reason, has eluded me. So now I think I have the whole set for original Xbox of all the Outlaw sports games. Let's see here. We'll go ahead and show off a few other things that I picked up along the way. Got a couple more Goodwill selections. I went to one Goodwill and they had multiple things I didn't have. So I got Monopoly for the Wii, and then I got some PS3 games. Got Terminator Salvation, Medal of Honor, and this is a reboot, and it says includes Medal of Honor Frontline, and I wonder if that is actually on the disc or if it's DLC. If it's DLC, I don't see a code on here, so I'll be curious to see if it's included or not. I also got Mayhem, which is sort of this highly stylized vehicle combat demolition kind of game. Yeah, 3D noir comic book style racing game. Okay. And then Fuse from Insomniac. So a whole stack of stuff that I didn't have before. And then while I was out, I think the same day, I stopped over at Walmart and I picked up Xenoblade Chronicles 3. Xenoblade 2 did not stick around too awful long in stores, and I want to say they maybe have done another print run at this point, because I've seen it in a couple places now, but I wanted to make sure I grabbed this before I couldn't. Let's see, to the mail, I'm pretty sure I didn't show this off last time, but I mentioned in a previous video that I bought the 8BitDo Pro Plus controller mistakenly because I thought I was ordering the Pro 2. Well, I decided to go back and order the Pro 2 this time, so now I have this, and much like the Pro Plus, it is, you know, the same kind of style that they've had for a little while. Although they're changing that up with their new 8BitDo Ultimate controller that now I kind of think I want because it's got the Gillikit Hall effect sensor sticks. But this is a nice pad. Again, it's their standard layout that's sort of inspired by the Super NES pad, then with the grips on it. It does have the nice textured back, and it has these configurable macro buttons, but these controllers, you know, generally feel good, and so I'm looking forward to messing around with this a little bit. Probably a little on the Switch and maybe a little on the Mister. So yeah, anyway, 8BitDo Pro 2, it's one of those things that I had wanted, and then like I said, when I ordered the Pro Plus, I thought I was getting the Pro 2, but I clicked on the wrong one. So now I have both. Why not? Otherwise, in stuff I got in the mail, I got a couple of things from my pal Red McKnight from ARF Generation. He was liquidating a couple of items, so I got myself Star Wars Republic Commando for the Nintendo Switch. For whatever reason, I didn't buy it when it went on sale on Limited Run Games, because it is a limited run title. And so when he decided to get rid of his, I said, hey, I want that. So I bought it from him, and I also bought this pink Wiimote with this sort of charcoal gray protector on it, and this is one of the newer ones that has the WiiMotion Plus built in. So always good to have more Wiimotes, particularly the WiiMotion Plus kind, because I have several Wiimotes, but only 2 or 3 that have the WiiMotion Plus. Let's see here. When I was at the game store recently, I picked up another game that I had missed out on before. That is Wild Guns Reloaded on the Switch. I don't remember why I didn't buy this when it came out, but this is one instance where I managed to get a good deal regardless. Other good stuff I got in the mail. I got something on Facebook Marketplace. There's a TurboGrafx group, and I saw this listing and I jumped at it, and that was for Sidearms. This is a Capcom shoot 'em up, and so I want to say this is the only console version of the game that came out during that generation, and it wasn't until PS2, Xbox, and PSP with the Capcom Classics collection did the arcade version ever truly hit home. But I wanna say Shmup Junkie prefers this version because of the music. But either way is one I definitely wanted to add to my collection. Also had another guy, Alucard 2089, who was getting rid of some stuff and was liquidating some Dreamcast games. And so I picked a couple of things up from him, including House of the Dead 2, Shenmue, finally adding that to the collection, and another Dreamcast shmup that I did not have, Triggerheart Exelica. And this is one of the later releases from G-Rev, I believe, if I remember correctly. Let me double check and make sure I'm not talking out of my butt here. Well, doesn't say. Let's make sure. Thought it was G-Rev. Well, I'm not seeing it in the manual either. Interesting. Oh, Warashi. Never mind. This is from Warashi, who made Shenmue, among other games. But yeah, this comes with 2 booklets, and it is, of course, the, I guess, special edition, so it has the soundtrack CD and the game. Always nice to have that. I also decided to splurge and spoil myself ever so slightly. I bought a game manual from eBay. Not something I typically do, but I've had Airbuster for the Sega Genesis box and cart for several years now. I want to say I picked this up 6 or 7 years ago, and so now I can finally complete that copy with this manual. So I'm happy to finally have that. A couple more things I got in the mail here recently. There was a recent release of a couple of games on PlayStation 3 physically from V-Blank, that being Retro City Rampage DX and Shakedown Hawaii. And so these are the newly released physicals for these 2 games. They were available direct, and I decided to go for it because at this point, with the PS3 being 2 generations back, you can't necessarily consider it retro, but it's kind of funny to buy games on systems that are now no longer commercially viable, particularly when they're indie games that are retro styled. So anyway, those are kind of fun, and it's always nice to have games like this in a physical form, even though I already have Shakedown Hawaii on the Wii U. Yeah, so just sort of a fun thing. Let's see. GameStop, of all places, had a sale going on some indie games that they were stocking. They were liquidating some inventory of some games from Megacat Studios, or at least some stuff that was published by Megacat. And so I bought 3 NES games and 2 Sega Genesis games. So for the NES, I got this Tetris clone called Dushlin, which is kind of interesting. Very simple box, not a lot going on there, but it is very much a Tetris style game. I got this game called Machine Cave, which is kind of interesting. Looks like a 1 screen at a time sort of deal. And then Logjammers, which I think is sort of the NES equivalent to something like Windjammers. But these were dirt cheap, so I picked those up. I also got Dev Will 2 for the Genesis, and I think it's a platformer of some kind. I missed out on Tanglewood, but I did manage to get Tanzer, which is one that I had been interested in based on footage I had seen during the development and then shortly after its release. I just had not purchased a copy yet. But the cool thing about these is that they are complete with the manuals. And of course the NES games are all still sealed. And so those will have manuals and all that fun stuff as well. So this was cool to be able to add these to the collection and you know, get this stuff in and yeah, on the shelves. Also got a Kickstarter that I had backed that is finally in now. And so we have The Cursed Knight. And this was one that I backed on Kickstarter and received this fairly recently. It only just came out and shipped maybe a month ago, if that. So I'm going to open this up so you guys can see what this is all about. So there's the game without the plastic on the front, and they even have a little Broke Studio sticker there along the spine. Oh, nice. So we've got lots of stuff going on here on the inside. We've got the cartridge in this little plastic bag here, this nice blue shell. And then the label there on the top, Cursed Knight. We have what looks like a poster. Oh yeah, check that out. Kill them all, the Cursed Knight. So there's that. There's this card here, kind of neat, with just some details about the game. And then of course the instruction manual, which I appreciate it having the black grid style like a traditional Sega Genesis game. And this is full color, as you would expect from a release like this, with details and information. Good stuff. So glad to have that. This is kind of a platformer shmup hybrid. It's a, I guess you could call it platformer with some shmup stages. But looking forward to checking this one out. I also in my package got the CD soundtrack, which of course I will be opening shortly to rip to the computer. Got a couple of Broke Studio stickers with it. This Broke Studio brochure with some information about other games, most of which I've heard of. I have Lizard, and I almost bought Micromages, but I didn't. I've heard of Nebs and Debs, but I haven't played it. And then you've got other stuff here on the other side. I'm aware of Flea and Project Blue and Archaigus Revolution for the Genesis. And then of course the Cursed Knight. And then, whoops. And then they also included this double-sided Broke Studio coaster thing. So yeah, Cursed Knight. Another Kickstarter success. And then finally, let's go with the big item for this time, and that is the Sega Astro City Mini V. The mini console or mini arcade cabinet that just recently released. And of course it's called the Astro City Mini V because it is vertical. So the screen is oriented vertically, and that means that it's all vertical games. We got a little card here. What do we have in here? Let's see. This box has we've got a micro USB cable to power the unit and HDMI to plug it in so you can connect it to a TV. I think this is just a spacer. Yeah, nothing in here. And here we have the unit itself. So there's the front of the unit. You've got your 6 main action buttons and your 2 menu buttons here. The joystick is micro switched and actually doesn't feel too bad. Doesn't have a lot of travel, so it'll be interesting to mess with that. And then on the back you've got your your headphone jack, your power in, your 2 USBs for external controllers, and then your HDMI out, and your on-off switch here. So really the buttons and the stick feel reasonably good for what this is. Now, of course, there's been much hay made about the input lag and the performance of this unit, and I'm of course aware of all that. I kind of bought this more as a curiosity. There are a lot of games on this unit that I've wanted to play. Some of them I will probably end up just playing on Mr. or other means, but it's nice to have a legitimate release of some of this stuff, even if I probably won't spend most of my time actually playing it on here. But I will mess around with this a little bit because it still will be kind of fun to, you know, sit here and mess with it on this tiny little candy cab, even if just for the novelty value. But I thought this was a fun piece, and like I said, the fact that we now have a legitimate release of some games that were never ported to console is nice. Even though some of those are still going to be making their way to console, it's cool that we're getting them regardless. So, yeah, the Astro City Mini V. I may still, at some point, pick up an Egret Mini, because that has the screen that you can actually rotate, and so there was a combination of horizontal and vertical games on there. But yeah, this I thought was kind of a neat little item, so I decided to grab one. So that's all I have to show you this time. And funny enough, as I record this, I've already received something. Not a lot, but I've already received something. So we'll see how November and December go in terms of arrivals and pickups and all of that as to when I'm going to do another pickups video. I may or may not get another one done before the end of the year, but I wanted to make sure and show off at least what I have here so that you could see everything I've accumulated thus far since I made my last video, and just make sure that I was cataloging and documenting all this stuff because you know, I want to make sure I have it all for insurance purposes, if for no other reason than that. But I do also like to show stuff off and open things up and show you what's what. And so anyway, what do you all think? How many of you knew about the Astro City Mini V and were excited for it before it came out? Did your excitement wane when you found out about the lag issues or anything like that? Or did you still think this was something that you might want to grab? And if you have one, have you played with it, and what are your overall thoughts? Let me know in the comments if you've spent any time with yours. Otherwise, what here would you play first, or what items in here maybe did you not know about and you're interested in now? Let me know that as well. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing so you can see more of my videos in your YouTube feed. And as always, thanks for watching, thanks for playing, and game on.